I've seen more than my share of dead bodies since arriving in Pincherry Harbor, but there's something different about this one. First of all, it's in a casket. And secondly, I'm not being accused of putting it there. It's also worth mentioning that I never met the deceased. She ran in the same upper echelon of Pincherry society as my grandmother, so my father and I were invited purely as a sign of status. Ew. Attempting to hurry past the expertly coiffed corpse of Lillian A. Barnes, festooned with garish diamond brooches, earrings, and several massive rings, something catches my eye. I pause for a moment and stare at the inexplicable holes in this jet-setter's overpriced lapel. I chew the inside of my cheek. 2 pinprick-sized holes about a finger's width apart. An unusual blemish in an otherwise spotless cosmic cobalt designer suit. My father gently tugs my sleeve, and I follow him back to our seats in the quaint, musty chapel hosting the viewing. While we wait for the line of mourners to thin down, my mind drifts to memories of my dearly departed mother. She was young, radiant, and full of life. No matter how much time passes, I can never understand why she was taken from me when I was so young. As I struggle to access any recollection of her funeral, I'm disturbed by the black void where those heartbreaking images should be. It seems natural to me that the memory of her face is fuzzy, since no pictures of her survived my 6-year stint in foster care, and I can even accept that the sound of her voice is fading with time. But why can't I remember her funeral? Sadly, she died in a horrible commuter train versus automobile accident, so it certainly would have been closed casket. But I can't recall a single detail. No casket, no chapel, no tears over an open grave as they lowered her.
Mitzy? Mitzy.
My father taps my knee and stares at me with growing concern.
Did you slip away into one of those, what do you call them, inside pictures?
My throat is tight with unwelcome emotion. I can't really talk about it. An ache of regret knifes through his eyes.
I'm so sorry I wasn't there for you.
I nod soberly and retreat back into my painful nostalgia. No one can blame him for not being there. He and my mother were a one-night stand, and she never bothered to track down the handsome out-of-towner who left her with much more than a warm memory of some Greek cheese. She happily named me after the dairy product that featured prominently in their Meet Cute, raised me on her own, and never said an unkind word about my biological father. In fact, she never spoke about him at all, to the point when I eventually believed he must have died. When the Grim Reaper truly visited the Moon household and took my mom, it came as no actual surprise to find myself in and out of foster homes for the next few years. It wasn't until I reached the ripe old age of 17 that I successfully emancipated myself from the school of hard knocks. And by emancipated, I mean ran away. And by successful, I mean a series of dead-end jobs eking out a living on minimum wage. Imagine my shock and disbelief when a frumpy man with an unbelievably enormous mustache showed up at the door of my should-be-condemned studio apartment in Sedona, Arizona, and handed me a manila envelope containing more hope than I ever dared wish for. A lengthy journey on a bus bursting with unpleasant odors landed me in almost Canada, and the moment I stepped onto the curb in Pincherry Harbor, my drab sepia-tone world exploded into technicolor. I leaned toward my anxious father and whisper, "Maybe we can head over to the diner and get a proper breakfast after this. I'm not sure how much longer I'll survive on a handful of Fruity Puffs." My suggestion brings a smile of relief to his face and a spark of hope to his gray eyes.
Sure, we should talk.
I work hard to maintain a protective wall around my heart. On the outside, I nod pleasantly, but on the inside, the tightening of my chest confirms that I'm not eager to delve into mucky emotional territory. Keeping things easy-breezy has pretty much been my trick to survival all these years.